Hey guys, and welcome back to Just a Thought About Everything. And today we are on episode 2. My name's Jessie.
And my name is Skylar.
And welcome. Today we're going to
Yeah.
be talking about. How would I describe what we're talking about?
Yeah. So basically, I guess what the idea is today is we're going to talk about money and how we all grew up with it and kind of what our preconceived notions are about money and learning from our parents and from our peers as we grow up and how that shapes our financial destiny. So I guess with that explanation, I'll just ask you, what was it like growing up with money in your house, Jesse? What did you learn?
Well, I grew up in several different households, so my perception of money was very confusing for me. In one household, we were living paycheck to paycheck. In another household, I didn't know about the finances at all. I wasn't allowed to know about the finances. And in another household, my grandmother would spend every single penny they had on useless things.
Interesting. So, what do you think? Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. Now you're a teenager. Now you probably have a little bit of money coming in through like an allowance or you're doing yard work or whatever it is during the summers. Now you have a little bit of money. How do you feel like those relationships with as growing up, like how do you feel like your relationship with money affected how you used money when you started getting it?
I think it just made me really confused as to what I was supposed to do with money. So I personally actually ended up saving every penny that I had for quite a few years.
Well, what about the you told me about the piggy bank thing. What's that with counting all the pennies or something?
Yeah, so I've always had a unusual love for money. Like I was just born.
Whoa, that's bad. No, you can't love money.
I was taught that is bad, and I would grow up and I would do little chores around the house, and I would look through the couch cushions, and I would fill my piggy bank, and I would just sit there and count the money over and over again and put it in my piggy bank. And I remember just being like really obsessed and like excited, and like I loved that feeling, and I would just count my pennies over and over again.
Jeez. Okay. And then why did you do that? So you were in a household where you were taught to spend all the money. You're in a household where you didn't ever talk about money, and you're in another household where you were scrimping by. How do you think that influenced your decision making with the piggy bank? I guess you're probably a little bit younger, and then when you were a teenager and you started having some money.
I think it's because I never like felt like I had money growing up, maybe. Like everyone around me was making bad decisions with money. As a child, obviously I wasn't consciously recognizing any of those things, but I think now I'm obsessed with like saving money and like wanting to make my own money and wanting to be successful because those around me just never were.
Well, I don't know if anybody else can relate to that, but I think we probably all want to be successful and have a bunch of money. So, yeah, I don't know if anybody would disagree with that, but yeah, that makes sense. And I don't know. So, what do you think now that you're a little bit older, looking back at this stuff? Like, what do you think? Your families or friends or whatever, and just kind of seeing how they spend their money. What does that make you? What do you think about that now?
I think that paying your bills and then spending every penny you have on enjoyment is not a good way to spend your money and your time. I think there's ways to enjoy your money and save and invest. And I think that many of us are doing that the wrong way.
Well, what's the right way? Let's hear it.
I think the right way is, I think you explained this one to me. I don't know what it's actually called, but it's like the third, a third, a third rule or whatever, where a third should be going towards your bills, a third should be going towards savings, and a third should be going towards investments.
Sure. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. And then what do you say to people who don't have any money left over? They have more month at the end of the money. I think that's how that goes.
Okay.
Basically, there's more days left than there is money.
Yeah. I can say that I've been there. And you just have to find ways to reduce your expenses, and it's not fun. It's not fun renting a room instead of an apartment. It's not fun eating like a college student versus eating whatever you want every day. It's not fun not going out to eat and getting coffee every day. But I would say just cut your expenses. If there's one thing you absolutely love, keep that one thing. But other than that, you need to find a way to, I used to work 2 jobs. You need to find a way to make more money. Hopefully you can get yourself into a position where like you're in sales or a higher paying job, so you don't have to work 2 jobs like I did, which was pretty dumb for me at the time, looking back on what I know now. But yeah, I mean, you just got to cut your expenses and make more money.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I did. I looked at like how much money I have. I sat down, okay, I started a job. This is how much they're going to pay me. So I need to make sure that my expenses are less than what I get paid. And then I take the difference and I invest it. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit about what I do.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think a lot of people don't know this. I know a lot of the time you think, oh, most people know what to do. I really don't think people know what to do. Because thinking back to when I was...
it's common sense.
It's not common. It's not common.
It should be.
Because when I was, 18, I didn't know what to do with my money. I didn't know what to do with anything, even life, like...
Right.
But I think a lot of people don't actually know what to do with their money, or sometimes you get put in a position in life where you feel like you can't get out of it and you can't do better. And I promise there's a way for everybody. I've met people from like the slums of Africa who just, create amazing things in their life and become successful. Like there is a way. It's hard. It's so hard, but I think if you really push yourself and really just find any way you can to research just to do a little bit better every year, I think you can really get somewhere. Yeah.
Collecting cans is a pretty passive way to gain wealth. You just walk around and grab a can, I guess. Yeah. Almost anybody can do that.
And we've done that. We've collected cans from work. We've picked them off the side of the road, like... We have literally...
Before COVID-19.
Before COVID-19. Don't do that right now. It's not safe for you to do that right now. But, like in normal life, it's even kind of gross to do it then, but we did. And we still collect cans to an extent because, like, from our roommates. Because, I don't know, because I don't want to ever stop the things that made us wealthier in the first place. Even if it seems so insignificant, every 5 cents... 5 cents times 1,000 is a lot of money, it all adds up.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you want to hear about what influenced me when I was younger and my perception of money?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I was waiting for you to ask me. I wasn't sure if you were.
Oh, I didn't know if I was supposed to ask you or not.
Why not?
I was like, what's going on?
Sure.
Take
the
lead.
Yeah. So growing up, I kind of had a similar set of circumstances. Like I was in a single family parent home, and yeah, there wasn't lots of money, and we sure didn't talk about it. So yeah, I didn't know anything about money really until, I had my first part-time job before I even had a personal finance class in high school. That's freaking crazy. So basically I didn't know anything about money. We didn't talk about it. My first experience using money was, I think, to buy video games and toys, and then to pay for gas in the car that I was given. And that's kind of, I feel like that's a normal kind of trajectory for a lot of people. What really changed my whole concept and perception of this was maybe when I was like 22, 23, something like that. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And his book, Robert Kiyosaki is the author of that book, and he's written some other good stuff too. And it doesn't even talk about saving, investing, budgeting, any of that stuff. It's just a mind shift. It's a mental mind shift on paradigm shift on what money is, how you should use it, what it should and shouldn't mean to you. And it was just really, really interesting. And it's a short read. If you guys haven't heard of the guy, look him up on YouTube. If you haven't read his book, go read it. If you gotta go get it at your library or whatever, just get it for free, whatever. And it's a really good book, and it's still meaningful today. I really like it. I feel like that's where everything shifted for me, because I was pretty much at that point in my life where I was deciding how much further with this college stuff I should go, and how much student loan debt should I take on to achieve my goals. And reading that book actually made up my mind that I wasn't going to go to college, get $80,000 to $100,000 in debt, and then graduate with all that debt and then go work for somebody else. So that wasn't my goal. So I got into the sales industry, started because I like to talk a lot and I'm kind of annoying. So I started doing sales. You got to be a little bit personable for that. It's definitely not, an ideal job for the rest of your life. But it really helped me because you can make a lot of money there. You can save it, you can invest it, you can, do all kinds of different stuff with money. It isn't just to pay bills. So I think, after reading that book and then diving into all these different blogs and videos and books about finances and money and stocks and real estate and retire early. You don't have to retire when you're 65 years old. You can retire when you're 40 or 30. It just depends on how hard you want to work to get to that point.
Or if you're 16 listening to this podcast right now, you could retire in your 20s. I so wish that I knew this information as a teenager. Yeah, I really wish I would have known this so much sooner in life.
Yeah, I don't know what the age is for a kid to be able to buy a stock. But I'm pretty sure you can open up like a custodial account and have like a parent or somebody of age of 18 that is willing to, help you buy your first stock. I think, gosh, I know people are going to light me up on YouTube if I get this wrong, but I think Warren Buffett bought his first stock when he was like 9 or 12 or something like that, because he was caddying people. He has a huge book. Haven't read it. I know I should. His biography or autobiography or something like that. But I believe he was caddying golfers or whatever as a summer gig, and he used that money to buy stocks. And everybody knows Warren Buffett. So I think he started when he's 9 or 12 or something like that.
I assume that the age for buying stocks back then was the laws on that were probably a lot more loose than they are now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, the Securities Exchange Commission might have tightened the rope on that one a little bit. Yeah, so it just influenced the book influenced me. I delved into a bunch of different stuff. And that's what made me who I am today. I was able to take a break from my job when it wasn't safe to be there, for my health, the health of my family. I have money saved. I have money invested. If the economy wasn't so crazy right now, I'd be buying a house. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity with money, and there's so much information out there, from Warren Buffett, Robert Kiyosaki, Ramit Sethi. There's just so many different ways you can get this information.
Bigger Pockets.
Oh yeah, Bigger Pockets. Yeah, they talk a lot about real estate. Man, I love listening to their podcast and their blog. It's lots of good information there from people kind of just like us, just talking about our experiences with real estate. We're a little bit more broad than that. We pick a couple topics, but yeah, there's all kinds of information out there. All you have to do is just listen and start absorbing it. Well,
and something I like about Bigger Pockets is that the people they have on their show are all kinds of people from all different kinds of walks of life. They have guests all the time, and you just hear, hundreds of different stories, so you can relate to different people and know that everyone started out with, $10 in their pocket and a job.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, if any of you guys listening have ever just walked up to your job on Monday morning and say, gosh, I wish I could just go in there and put my feet on the desk, wait for the manager to come over and tell him I quit. I think everybody's had that thought. Maybe they'd say some other choice words, but it is possible. I mean, there's people who are retiring early all the time. And then you can go pursue whatever you actually want to do. So money, I don't know about Jesse, who loves money, but money is a useful resource. It allows you to just have opportunity. And I think, America was at one point called the land of opportunity, probably still is. It is, there's so much opportunity, even during this time, to start your own business. For all these people who just came out of nowhere and bigger companies that started making ventilators and masks, for this COVID thing, there's always opportunity.
Yeah, and opportunity, all these businesses coming out to, make, sell, and donate all these masks and respirators, like, they're making money and they're helping an amazing, incredible cause and helping their community. There are so many things you can do that are beneficial financially, and you can help people in the process.
Yeah. So kind of bringing it back to childhood and finances. I know you don't have any kids right now, or at least I believe so. And right. And what do you think of the idea of allowances, or how would you, now we've kind of talked about our past in bringing up with money. How would you want to teach your kids about money? What would what type of education would you provide them, knowing that the school system doesn't really do a good job of that?
Well, I can't say for sure because I've never been a parent, but I can say that what I would hope to instill in my children is I would want them to have an allowance, kind of. I guess I want them more to work, I guess, quote unquote, hourly, where, they're expected to do their chores without payment. They're expected to do normal household things without payment, because I think that's important to becoming a functional adult when you have to go live alone. But I think, extra things in the yard, or they wanted to, give them opportunities to make money around the house, like they can go help their dad fix a shed or whatever. And then I would want to teach them just how to separate your money. Like, it's okay to have, here's some spending and some fun money. Here's your savings money. And this is how you can invest it, and I would like to instill that even when they're, when they're first born, when you're a newborn. I want to have 3 piggy banks, and put a quarter in each one every day or something. I would just really like to instill kind of that thought process in my children early. And then when they grow up, I would hope that I would be able to guide them in ways of, making passive income so that their future can be bright and they can spend their time and energy on things they love to do. Like, if they're an artist or a musician or a philosopher, I want them to have every opportunity and stability to be able to explore and, do their passions with all their heart, while still creating their own stream of income so that they feel successful and stable, and hopefully do the same with their children.
Well, what about this? What if they come back from their friend's house and they ask you, well, hey, my buddy John's dad bought him this super cool whatever the heck it is, and how I want you to buy me one.
Oh, pressure. I guess it depends what it is. Wait for your birthday, wait for Christmas, depending how far away that is. Or they can, do something to earn that amazing product, or hopefully they have their own little savings that they haven't spent yet of their spending money or whatever. Because I guess you could teach them, if you don't spend the money now, you can save it and get something bigger later. So I guess that's kind of how I would handle that situation.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I don't know, I haven't really thought about it either. I feel like you just need to start having the conversation. Really, that's the first and most important thing is talking about it, because if you don't talk about it, then they can't ask any questions.
I agree with that, because I feel like a lot of people are very secretive about their money with each other.
In my family too. Yeah,
and with
nobody talks about it.
Yeah, I think that's the the biggest issue is we don't talk about it. And I think everyone needs to talk about it way more, especially with your family and your children, so they can understand like what money is, instead of, oh, I'm 18 now, I have a first job, I live on my own, what am I doing? No one told me anything.
Yeah, how do I set up utilities under my own name? What is a direct deposit? When I did personal finance, all they did was teach me how to fill out a check. Nobody uses checks anymore.
Yeah, yep.
I mean, I don't own a multi-million-dollar business, so maybe they do checks there. But I mean, everybody uses cards. Mm-hmm. You have a monthly statement. I can't believe they taught me how to fill out a check. That's ridiculous.
Even for rent, every place I've rented does not accept personal checks. You have to go get a cashier's check from your bank. These are
what a waste of time. Just do direct deposit.
Yeah, I had to ask my landlord how to do that because no one taught me. Like, okay, how do I pay rent? Do I bring cash in here? And my landlord's like, no. Like,
that's funny. Yeah, sure. Bring me all the cash you want. I'll put it right in my pocket.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the conversation is super important. I mean, I'm only 27. I'm not a multimillionaire. I don't know everything. But I think, with you guys taking the time to listen to this, hopefully you would love to share your guys' experiences. You'll find us on YouTube. You'll find us plugging our blog and find us on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And, share your guys' comments with us. What was it like when you grew up? What did you learn when you were a kid? Was everything just handed to you and you didn't know how you got it? You just asked for it and it magically appeared? What did that do? How did that affect you when you got older? So hopefully, we want this to be interactive where you guys can talk with us and just tell us, what was money growing up for you?
Yeah, our YouTube content should be coming up next week. We're going to be filming our podcasts and probably producing our own content as well. Probably unrelated to finances, just individual, fun things to do. But we will be, we'll have a channel specifically for our podcast. That way all of y'all can interact with us and let us know what you think. And yeah.
Right. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I think, I think it's really interesting just to start the conversation. That's why I kind of like this platform. There's, a lot of other places you can go to learn about this stuff. I know right now, during this whole COVID-19 thing going on, finances are at the forefront of people's minds. That's kind of why we wanted to have this discussion is, we're hearing all this stuff about people don't have $400 to their name. They, they're literally, they're without their job for 2-3 weeks and now they can't pay rent and they're wondering how they're going to get food. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, if that's just crazy to you guys, I mean, it's crazy to me. I would never want to be in that situation where I'm so, like, literally every dollar is going to my credit card or every dollar is going to rent and food, and then I have nothing at the end of the month. I mean, you're one accident from being screwed. You know what I mean? And I mean, if you hurt your ankle and you can't go to work for a week, you know what I mean? It just, there's just, you put yourself in a really compromised position. So I think, what we learn about money growing up is important. I also think once we are grown up, whatever that means to you, whenever you decide to grow up.
I don't feel grown up yet at all.
Yeah, right. So whenever you decide to grow up, I think money is something important that you should talk about, that you should learn about, that we should have podcasts about. We should learn more about it in school. I don't need to necessarily know the names of the guys on the paper, but I need to know about it. I need to know, what does $20 do for me? Tell me a little bit more about inflation. Tell me, that putting all of your money in a bank account is not good because you're actually losing money because of inflation. There's different investment opportunities, all kinds of cool stuff. It's a really, really interesting topic. And I know just like when you're learning anything new, even if you're learning how to use a computer for the first time or learning to use whatever for the first time, a lot of it goes over your head. It's tough, especially when you're learning a new topic. Yeah, it's tough, but it's super, super worth learning. I mean, this is really, really important. It's something that we all deal with every day. I mean, if you reach into your pocket, you probably have money or a wallet there that has cards. I mean, everybody has this stuff. We need to talk about it.
And I feel like a lot of people, even if you think money is, evil and terrible and all this stuff, unfortunately, it is still how our lives are run. It is, we decided to exchange paper for services and housing, So, like, I think changing your mindset, like, because being taught, growing up, you always hear, like, people saying, like, oh, it's better to be poor and happy than rich and miserable or whatever. And I think Skylar usually says, like, I'd rather be crying in a Lamborghini or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Well, hey, we all got problems. I'll show up to mine in a limousine.
That's
yeah,
what
there
it
we
was.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like a Lamborghini too, so I wouldn't say no to that. But I mean, well, here's the thing, and I mean, if you guys don't like money and you want to stick your head in the sand or whatever, that's cool. I have a bag of rice, and if anybody wants to trade me a goat, I will do that. We can bring the barter. We can bring the barter system back.
I would love that. I want a goat.
Right. Well, actually, I'd prefer a couple ducks. I mean,
yeah,
we were just talking about ducks. Yeah. So, I don't know, but well, I don't know. I don't want to say just kidding, because if somebody wants to trade me some ducks, I mean, I don't know. We might. It'd be
hard to say no.
Yeah, it'd be hard to say no.
We'll even adopt them. Like, oh, it'd be so difficult to say no to that.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I mean, you can bring the barter system back if you want, but the dollar's been around for a while. I mean, there's even Bitcoin. If you guys don't like paper money, there's Bitcoin, there's Ethereum, there's cryptocurrencies. Go check that out. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother thing in itself. I don't know enough about it, so I'm not going to say any more than that, but...
Well, I think there's also just, like, thinking money's evil or terrible or whatever, and also just switching to the mindset of, well, what would I do if I had $1 million? And for me, I'd be like, well, I would be completely stable and happy in my life and probably be able to help out people around me as well.
Right. And with inflation, $1 million isn't as much as you guys think it is anymore.
It really isn't. $1 million is like you can buy a house and not retire. Like it's incredible how expensive things are now.
Yeah, especially where we're at. I when I bought this house, I was just really surprised. I mean, it is affordable to get into a house, but after looking at how much it cost the loan to get the house, the loan itself almost, I think it actually more than doubled the cost of the home.
Yeah.
If I was to pay on this thing every month without fail for 30 years, it more than doubled the cost of the home. And I know that the home isn't going to be worth what I end up paying for it in 30 years. I don't think the house is going to be worth, the house we bought was a $400,000 house, which in our area isn't expensive. It's kind of reasonable.
It's a middle class house in how expensive where we live is.
Right, exactly. So it's not ridiculous or anything like that. And then I think by the end of the loan, 30 years from now, it'll cost me like $900 and some $1,000, pretty close to a freaking $1 million.
Yeah.
And I know this house will not be worth $1 million in 30 years.
Which we absolutely could not afford if we were the only ones living in this house. If it was just you and I, we would not be able to afford this. Like, especially with the unemployment going on right now. It would be like we'd be barely scraping by.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And what she's referring to is that we have, we're kind of house hacking this. So house hacking is a term where you get into a house, you live in one of the rooms or live in the basement or whatever, something like that, and then you rent out all the available space so other people pay your mortgage for you, and they might even pay the utilities, and they might even, at the end of it, you might actually make a couple bucks. And that way you can save all of the money you would have spent on rent or your mortgage and invest it or save it and maybe buy another house and do it again. So
yeah, and we can go more into that, and I think that needs its own podcast all in its own.
Right.
Because that is a lot of information, and it's a great thing for, I think, millennials. Everyone's trying to buy a house right now. Millennials, we're all in our 20s, 30s, and 40s now and trying to buy our first home still. So I think house hacking is a very awesome way to start getting into that.
Right. And not to derive people from checking us out, but I think that term actually came from Bigger Pockets. you can check them out. Their real estate website, biggerpockets.com.
I don't know where it originates.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I listen to so many podcasts and I read so many books. Like I don't know where I hear anything, and I don't even know if it's right anymore. I just kind of
We will try to give credit where credit is due, but we might not remember because of the loads of information we absorb on a daily basis.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, other than that, you guys, thanks so much for listening to us. It was a pleasure, speaking, and learning a little bit more about our financial pasts and hopefully our financial futures.
Yeah. And the time really flies. We've already been talking for half an hour, and I don't know.
So if you're still listening, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Well, yeah, other than that, this has been Just a Thought About Everything with
Jesse
and Skylar.
Bye.
Bye.